And yes. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's session, first session of the webinar series of CAMSS. Please, before starting, let me share my screen in presentation mode. Can you see it? Perfect. Then today, as you can see, you're more than welcome to attend the presentation on this CAMSS solution named Incompatibility Scenario. As a way of introduction, my name is Romina Fernandez. I'm a public sector consultant for Entity Data, who is supporting the Commission DigiDigit in providing services for the CAMSS project. And today, we are together with my colleagues, Juan Carlos and Hector. We're gonna guide you through the different points in the agenda. And today, what we're gonna have is first welcoming and motivation with a different purpose. And here I was gonna ask Raul Abril to also say a few opening remarks. And then we're going to proceed for telling you a bit more of the context around the CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario before then jumping into the specific aspects of what the CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario is. Then we're going to go more into the practice term with a demonstration of a use case of how to use this solution and this tool. And then we are going to continue with an announcement about the pilot. There is this initiative that we are promoting. We would like to tell you a bit more on this, and then concluding with some Q&As. Proceeding with the motivation part, as I was saying, we're going to tackle the part related to webinar purposes. And for this, I would like to leave the floor to Raul Abril, who is responsible from DigiDigit for all interoperability architecture solutions, including CAMSS. Please, Raul.
Thank you very much, Romina. Good morning, colleagues. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on this event. I am really excited, and those are not empty words, about this webinar. It's the first time that we deliver this seminar, and it comes as a result of, I would say, almost 1.5 years basically developing this new scenario of our family of common assessment methods. I would like to position here this method in the context of a specific use case. No, probably the most popular use cases in our portfolio of interoperability architecture solutions are: number one, the analysis of requirements of digital or a set of digital public services. So no technology, no specifications. And then the second use case, and probably again the most popular, is the design of target digital public service, or a set of them. No, and the next step after the design would be the implementation. No, either developing from scratch or reusing components or purchasing. Okay, so this the subject of this webinar is about the second use case. It is a part of the design. We are in the context of a design of a digital public service use case. So in this context of design of a use case, one of the key components is to identify and select the appropriate specifications of our design solution. And in doing that, there are many and of different types. We have specs that are technical. We have specs that are semantic, just to say. And then in several cases, we find situations of having more than one, so alternative specs. But in some cases, we find we need to test the compatibility of those new specifications with respect the set of existing specifications. So what you will see in this webinar is our approach to support the person or colleagues that are performing this design in assessing the potential incompatibility. So let me focus on this. We are not saying or we are not assessing if a specification, a candidate specification to be considered is compatible with the existing set of compatible specifications in the design of a solution, but in the other way around. We are just addressing the question if it's incompatible, because if it's incompatible, bye-bye. We don't waste more time assessing these candidate specifications. So this is why we are assessing the incompatibility, and therefore there is a very powerful message that I hope it will be underlying all the presentation, and is that compatibility is, of course, a criteria for interoperability. And then what we are assessing here is the incompatibility. And with that, basically, I am very excited about that. I will come back, hopefully, at the end for the pilot request, because we are calling for candidates that we will support. We are looking for at least 2 sites where it could be in the same site, where we are going to pilot this new scenario of CAMSS. We are looking for that. So we will come back with this message at the end. So Romina, the floor is yours, and thank you very much. Have a very good webinar.
Thank you very much, Raúl, for your words. Well, let's continue. And just to close the motivation side and a bit of a recap what else we have in the pipeline. This indeed is the first session of a webinar series. We have more already scheduled in the plan, as you can see here. This is just a quick overview of what else you can expect in the upcoming year 2025. So basically, after presenting this new solution, the CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario, we're going to go through 3 more solutions of the CAMSS portfolio, specifically the CAMSS vocabularies, beginning of the year, then continuing more on the EIRA Library of Interoperability, ELIS, and the ELIS Management Tool. And last but not least, in spring, we are going to present to you the CAMSS European Interoperability Framework Scenario Assessments. That being said, let's go more to the core part of today's session, starting with the context around the CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario. And for this, I would leave the floor to my colleague, Juan Carlos. Please.
So many thanks, Romina. Good morning, everyone. So the first point in today's meeting now is to present what is CAMSS. Okay. So if we move to the next slide, Romina. CAMSS stands for the Common Assessment Method for Standards and Specifications, okay? And it is a European guide that has been designed in order to assess, but also select and justify standards and specifications in e-government projects, especially when building an ICT architecture. So at the end, CAMSS, what is providing is a set of solutions, but also assets and specifications that supports when addressing interoperability needs and requirements that, for instance, that are crucial for cross-border and administrative digital service to interact seamlessly, avoiding electronic barriers. No? So CAMSS in this sense seeks to facilitate this seamless interaction between cross-border digital services and between administrations to avoid vendor locking with public administrations and digital service providers, and also to ensure conformity of technical specifications with the interoperability perspectives of the EIF, that are the semantic and technical ones. Okay, so if we move to the next slide, Romina. So here what we have depicted are the different benefits when using CAMSS. No? So at the end, CAMSS is a solution that is developed by the European Commission, by the Directorate General for Digital Services. CAMSS is ensuring alignment with the European interoperability frameworks and solutions. So in this sense, the CAMSS solutions, but also the assets, are aligned with the European interoperability framework, with the EIF, but also with the interoperable Europact, and finally EIRA, which is the next solution that I will present in the next slide. So also as benefits, sorry, Romina, back, okay. Also, as benefits, CAMSS has a library of already evaluated specifications, allowing their centralized documentation and reuse. And finally, and it is worth also to mention that CAMSS is establishing a commonly agreed method at the European level. No? So CAMSS ensures quality, transparency, and streamlining throughout the process of assessing, selecting, or justifying the choice of why a specification or why this standard. Okay. So now, Romina, yes, if we move to the next slide, I will show our colleagues today what is EIRA. No? So EIRA stands for European Interoperability Reference Architecture. Is a reference that provides a recommended framework for designing and implementing interoperable systems. And it provides guidelines on how to design and structure a digital public service to be interoperable by design. Also, a relevant interoperability aspect is that EIRA is made up of different architecture building blocks, which inform the key requirements and capabilities to be considered in order to ensure interoperability. So covering all the interoperability views that are defined by the EIF, by the European Interoperability Framework. So the legal interoperability view, the organizational, the semantic, and the technical one. And here also in this slide, what we have represented are the two use cases that Raúl was mentioning at the beginning. No? So EIRA has two main use cases, which is the analysis of requirements, and then we have the design of digital public service use case, where is here where the CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario takes place. So if we move to the next slide, Romina. So here, as already mentioned with CAMSS, what we have here are the benefits for EIRA. So basically, as the same with CAMSS, it is a solution that was developed by the European Commission, by Directorate General for Digital Services, DIGIT, and which ensures its alignment with the latest interoperability policies. Okay, its content is aligned with the European Interoperability Framework, as I mentioned, with the different views, and with the overall European policy landscape on interoperability. Also, EIRA provides a consistent way to document and classify reusable solutions building blocks, making it easier to find and understand reusable and interoperable solutions. And finally, as part of benefits when using EIRA, is that EIRA adopts a service-oriented architecture style and promotes Archimate as a machine-readable notation for modeling, enabling conformance testing using another European and interoperability solution that is interoperability testbed, and its use in public procurement. So I leave the floor to you, Romina.
Thank you very much, Juan Carlos, also for explaining the two big elements composing the context of the CAMSS interoperability scenario, namely CAMSS and EIRA. And with this notion, we can move to the specifically to what the CAMSS incompatibility scenario is. As a way of definition and to start explaining this solution, you can consider the CAMSS incompatibility scenario as indeed a solution that assesses the possible incompatibility of a specification when it is about to be integrated in an existing digital public environment. And this integration can affect the interoperability of the environment with other systems. Here, a unit of analysis that, like in the previous solutions, has been explained. Here, the unit of analysis for this solution is the incompatibility indeed of a specification. Like all CAMSS solutions, CAMSS incompatibility scenario is based on EIRA. And thanks to this, it also helps examining the extent to which interoperability is not enabled. This is very important to be reminded among the different European interoperability framework views that have been explained before. As a result, this solution helps identifying, again, the possible incompatibility of the to be integrated specification, and this helps ensuring that the digital public environment remains interoperable, so remains compliant with all the specifications and regulations. Here you can see visually the starting point, so the action of integrations where there is the likelihood of incompatibility and consequently compromise interoperability between the two starting actors, the new specification and then the as-is environment that in more, say, technical terms, we call it as reference interoperability environment. This term entails an as-is environment, in this case, an environment of interconnected and interoperable European Union digital public services. To better then understand the logic behind the solution CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario and better understand the process, here you have a quick cycle, a quick image that shows how this solution is designed to allow that the existing reference interoperability environment, or RIA, grows incrementally specification by specification. This means that starting from an as-is situation, an as-is RIA, and then the other actor is the new specification to be integrated, we develop the tool because we believe it's key, it's really important to assess the possible integration before any actual one. The tool helps to indeed assess this incompatibility, so it's like we can understand beforehand whether there is or there is not incompatibility. In case incompatibility cannot be enabled, so there is, we have no integration. But in case there is not incompatibility, then it means that interoperability can be enabled, then the new specification can be integrated in the environment, thus creating a new reference interoperability environment. And here we have a new environment that has grown with a new specification, and this can create a virtuous cycle because the same process can be repeated. This environment would become an as-is environment when a new assessment starts, and if incompatibility is not existent, then the new specification can be aggregated, and this way the environment grows incrementally, indeed, specification by specification. Moving to key concepts of the CAMSS incompatibility scenario, there are two elements to be taken into account. The first is the EIRA interoperability enables. These are fundamental elements that enable and ensure interoperability in any digital public service. In the specific case of EIRA, here we're referring to the architecture building blocks mentioned before, and they refer to a crossing between the European interoperability framework views and the three interoperability dimensions that characterize any digital public service, meaning the structural, the behavioral, and the governance interoperability dimensions. As a brief way of presenting and describing them, you can think of the structural interoperability dimension as the reuse and or the sharing of components that allow any digital public service to be interoperable by design. The behavioral interoperability dimension instead is focused on the exchange of data, of information or knowledge with a digital public environment, whereas governance interoperability dimension is more related to the support, the peer-to-peer support collaboration with all the digital public services. So taking into account these three interoperability dimension and crossing them with the LOST, the lost views of European interoperability framework, you can see a sort of matrix, thanks to which we identify the enablers, the key interoperability enablers, more in the column side. And this image is also interesting to also detail a bit more on the different views. For instance, specifically the case of the technical interoperability, since you see here a sort of two aspects. One view more related to the technical application and the other more related to the technical infrastructure view. The other key element to better understand the CAMSS incompatibility scenario regards incompatibility criteria. Based on the EIRA interoperability enablers I've just explained, it's possible to identify specific criteria for then assessing incompatibility. Once again, you see here a matrix, again crossing the EIF views with the interoperability dimensions. And in this case, though, we have the definition of some criteria that work as attributes of quality. And they are fundamental because they are the basis on which we then develop a series of assessment questions that will be posed on the tool, the CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario tool. And then we will show it in the practice side. And they are like the key to then check and indeed evaluate the possible incompatibility. That being said, we can kind of go more on the side of the benefits. The most notable benefits of using the CAMSS incompatibility scenario that can be summed up on being based on EIRA. Like I've saying, all CAMSS solutions, the incompatibility scenario is as well conceptualized in EIRA and also is based on the European Interoperability Framework as interoperability views. And this is also like a very strong asset coming from this solution. Further benefit is the fact that by answering the assessment questions via the tool, it's possible then to have a really thorough and understandable evaluation of the possible incompatibility among specifications under multiple views, under multiple aspects, I would say, the interoperability view, the interoperability dimension, and also the different assessment criteria. And another aspect in this sense is that the tool is open to the public, is available via the CAMSS collection on the Interoperability portal, or formerly known as JNAP. And here, in there, you can input these your answers to the question and then self-assess autonomously. Last but not least, a further benefit regards the adaptability of the CAMSS incompatibility scenario to the check to the evaluation of the effort and impact that incompatibility may have if happening. And this helps to evaluate multiple aspects. So not only the integration, but once we have this assessment, we can also do a comparison between one or multiple scenarios via the same tool. And this is indeed one possible use case. So now I'm also leaving the floor to my colleague Hector to go more on the practice side and understand better the use cases.
Thank you, Romina. So good morning, everyone. Now we are going a bit more in detail and in practice of this incompatibility scenario. We will see the different use cases, options, and methods that we consider, and we will go through a use case and for the demo. Okay, so Romina, you can go to next slide. So, as my colleagues have explained, Juan Carlos and Romina, this incompatibility scenario is related to the inclusion of new specifications on an environment, okay, and it requires assessing the possible incompatibility. So here we have two main use cases, which is the implementation of new digital public services, or the adaptation of an ASIS environment for new interoperability requirements. The first one is related to developing a new, for example, set of services the second one, in this case, the adaptability of this ASYS environment requires, for example, that a set of solutions are put in place to provide services. And for example, there's a regulation that comes out at, for example, European, national, or regional level that sets some requirements, for example, on data persistence or data traceability. So it could require that the different administrations having those services to analyze different specifications in order to include them into then the ASYS environment, making a new environment covering those requirements. Okay. So having these two main use cases, we have two types of assessments or mechanisms. We have the new incompatibility assessment. Okay, in this case, this new incompatibility assessment is with the selected or the identified specification. Named candidate specification, we according to our needs and the different requirements, we conduct the whole interoperability assessment, and then we have the second one, which is the comparison of assessments. So in this one, imagine that in a use case, we will see it later, but in a brief, imagine that in a use case, an administration identifies one specification, candidate specification, performs the incompatibility assessment, and then identifies a second specification that is also a candidate specification to be included. Then, having performed the assessment, the user can compare both assessments to see which one is not incompatible, or if it's incompatible, and see where in the different categories assessed is better than the other. Okay, so this is on the use cases and the mechanisms. We can go to the next slide, Romina, where we are going to present a specific use case, okay, that we have prepared to depict or to illustrate the use of the incompatibility scenario. As said, we are focusing on the implementation of a new digital public service. Okay, we are like putting on place of that the regional administration in Catalonia is creating a service for citizens to register to councils, so they can access the different services and voting as well. As this is how it works in Spain. So the administration, for this purpose, has identified a few services, which is the signature of electronic documents, and also the creation of forms to gather the information from the users. So we have that for the first case, the e-signature, we have put in place that there's a regulation in Spain that sets that a specification needs to be used for that purpose. So the administration has to look for specifications on the implementation of the form that are not incompatible with this specification that has already set in the design of the solution. Okay. So this is the use case that we are going to use. Before going in detail of the solution and so on, there are a few aspects, as you can see here, that are relevant to know prior starting an assessment. First one is know and study the specification that is going to be integrated, just to be able to provide specific answers and answer properly to the different questions. Okay. Also, it's interesting to check if the specification has been already described using the core standard specification vocabulary. So we have a unique resource to include the metadata of the specification, and we have the description in machine readable format. It's relevant as well to check if this specification has undergone the CAMSS EIF scenario assessment, which is meant to assess to what extent the specifications are interoperable. So this could be like a criteria to consider specification. If it's considered interoperable, then is an extra, let's say, point to consider it as candidate. Okay. And last but not least, we have that the ASIS and and also the 2B environments, once integrated, the specifications need to be defined using EIRA and its notation. Okay, you will see now an example. Okay, so now I'll take over, Romina, and I'll share my screen, and we can go through the tool and show different details. Okay, I'll share my screen and you let me know if you can see it. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good. 1 second. I cannot see you. Okay. Okay, so this is the homepage of the incompatibility scenario. Okay, as you can see, we have context information regarding the CAMSS action, some information that Juan Carlos explained, and so on. More information on the purpose of the incompatibility scenario. Okay, then we have on the bottom of the page some of the considerations that I just included in the last slide that we shared, and then we have the two options that I mentioned: the new incompatibility assessment on or the compare of incompatibility assessments. Okay, first we are going to go through the new incompatibility assessment. Okay, when you select this incompatibility, you have to provide information elements like the name of the interoperability environment, which in this case I will put related to the example of a new service for registration on councils. Okay, I'll put as well a description. And then it comes when we have to include the information related to the ASIS environment and to the 2B environment. Okay, the new specifications that we want to include. For this, now I'm jumping to Archimate, okay, to Archi to show the tool that my colleagues have mentioned. Okay, here I have to do a big disclaimer. Okay, I think that some of you have already knowledge of EIRA okay, but here what we wanted to depict is an easy example to illustrate the use case. Okay, that we have presented. So this is having this ecosystem for the new registry of citizens in the councils. We have the first part related to electronic identification and the signatures, where we have the specification that comes set by law. So this is like already in the design model. And then we want to identify some specifications and check if they have some incompatibilities with the current ones. So the point is, the 2B it would be like, for example, this extensible forms description language is a specification that as an administration preparing these use cases, this use case of a new registry, we would identify. Okay, so having this specification in here, we have everything set. We have the ASIS, that is the one that I showed before, and then we have the 2B. Okay, so this can be exported easily to XML via export and model token exchange. Okay, this is just some steps, and then I go back to the platform. So first I select the ASIS, okay, and upload it. You will see that it shows the different SBBs, which is the forms. The first one is related to the forms management application service, where we at this moment on the ASIS we don't have anything, and then the signature creation, which we have the electronic signature specification. Okay, then we can select the new one, which could be the one we will perform the assessment, and you see that we have this signature with the existing specification and the related to the force management, the new candidate specification, and we have it identified here. Okay, so we can go forward, and this is also related to information of the assessment. Okay, we have that this candidate new specification is included automatically. Okay. It is provided on the backend, okay, but we have also a mandatory element in here, which is the assessment justification. This is mandatory because it helps to the user to focus on which is the purpose of the assessment and which is the contest. So it helps to put focus on what needs to be assessed, okay. The rest of the fields are not mandatory. Actually, this is not being processed. This is just kept while doing the assessment. But if you close the navigator, you will the browser, you will lose this. That there are options, okay, to save it and continue with the assessment wherever you want. That I'll show later on, okay. So, once we are done with the information on the assessment, we have to, let's say, configure it and select the different assessment method with lost views, which come from the EIF, as my colleagues have already explained, legal, organizational, semantic, and technical views, okay, and the dimensions. Okay, in here, for example, let's check on the different lost views. And then we go to another step, which is an extra configuration step that is interesting and is aligned with the configuration aspects that my colleague Romina mentioned before passing me the torch. Okay, and here this is interesting because it could be that we want to analyze and assess the incompatibilities on specific aspects because we are focused on, for example, semantic, technical, or application or infrastructure view. So we are doing an example where we are selecting semantic view, technical application view, and infrastructure. So I'm able to do this one. And when I pick next, then the assessment, let's say, and the different criteria appears. As you can see, we have here the different views that I selected, okay, where that are the ones that I want to check the incompatibility of the candidate specification. I'm not going to go into detail of all the questions, okay, but I want to explain you the logic of the different questions and what is relevant to know. Okay, first, I mean, we have different blocks for questions. As you can see, this is split on the interface, and this is easy to see. First, normally we have a first question where it is asked if the integration of the specification is causing incompatibility issues with certain aspect, on this case the semantic view, okay, because we are now on the stage of assess the semantic view. And then we have different possibilities. We have I'll start from the bottom and then I go up because there's more detail on the yes answer. Okay. The not applicable option, it could be used, for example, to determine or to say that this specific aspect is not related or is not covering the candidate specification, so it doesn't make sense to assess this aspect. In case of no, because the specification is not causing any incompatibility issues, we select no, and the next questions that I will explain now are not to be answered. However, we have these additional comments, which are like a text box that are on the other questions as well, that is relevant to include this information because even though it's not mandatory, it can allow basically to justify or to add information on why you are selecting that there's no incompatibility on this specific aspect for this candidate specification. So if you want to document the result, if you want to document what's happening on the specification and the possible in introduction on the environment, it's important to for you to know, and also just in case you want to share with others. I mean, it's information that is relevant to know. Okay, and the last option, for example, if we say yes, then is when we are able to answer the different questions. We have one question which is related to the effort that would require to integrate the specification. Okay, that is it's built always the same way, which is to what extent would the integration of the candidate specification be plug and play. Okay. This goes to low effort, medium effort, high effort, or non-effort, okay, and then the text justifying why this is this way, okay. Then we have the question related to the impact, how the candidate specification could impact the existing components on the RIE. So again, it follows the same scale, so low, medium, high, and none. Okay, it's important. This will come afterwards as well on the results page, but this is relevant to know that to qualify, let's say, not incompatibility issues as a general outcome, the specification has to get a not incompatibility on all the different categories assessed. So, for example, there are cases like where a minimum effort and not impact will score like not incompatible, because in the end is not causing any problem and the effort is minimum to implement. Okay. So this is the logic on the different questions that Romina said. This on the different views, and they are like crossed by the different interoperability dimensions. So in each view, you will have questions regarding structural elements, behavioral, and also governance aspects. So this is a general overview on that. This is when answering, something that is interesting is that you can move from the different views without having problem. Okay, and you can answer, for example, these infrastructure aspects, and then imagine that you go to the end, so you are answering all this is infrastructure aspects. Okay, so imagine that you think that you have finished the assessment and you want to go to the results. The one thing is that you are not going to be able to go to the results if there are missing answers. So when finishing, what you get is, in case of any missing answer, you have the view where the question is missing, and the number of the question. So you can go back and answer, and then go to the results. Okay. So now I have here an example. I have already charged the results. Just imagine that I just performed the assessment of this identified specification, which is a candidate, and it says that is not there's no incompatibilities. So this could be, let's say, ready to integrate in the RIE. But let's put on the focus that I previously did an assessment of another specification, which is, for example, X-Forms, okay, where it qualifies incompatible, because in the different views we have been analyzing the impact and the effort, and it would be like high effort and high impacting the results. So this is like the default after answering the different criteria. So this would not be a good let's say specification in this case. Okay. However, there's an option that it's interesting on the results page and the feature of the scenario, which means which is related to performing some changes on the results. These changes are basically because I imagine that as the administration at regional level, I have performed the assessment, I see problems or I see incompatibilities because of the effort and also the impact. Okay, but after performing the assessment, I get in contact with some colleagues on the administration that have experience or resources to work on this infrastructure and application view elements. So I could change those to better depict that I have possibilities to not having this result or these complications. Okay, so imagine first of all this to make sure that the user has real let's say to complicate just changing for the sake of it. We have included that the user needs to include the justification, okay, on why is going to change the punctuation. So in here, I could say, for example, not incompatible because I have some resources at my administration that can help me to change that. And I could do the same, for example, with this one, okay? And I could put some text, change to not incompatible, for example. You can change as you can see here. This not changes because and it's incompatible and remains incompatible because I said it needs to be, let's say, not incompatible all categories to ensure that everything is okay and there are no elements that that could affect. Okay, so this is like the case where we have performed a new assessment for different specifications, okay? And now it comes that we have those specifications. We don't have a clear view on what, on which one to use. So it is the case or the method to use the compare the scenario, the assessment. So in here, going again to the home page, instead of going through the new incompatibility assessment, what I could do, okay, is go through the compare incompatibility assessments. Okay, in this sense, I have to upload the file that provides the incompatibility assessment. Okay, and I, for example, put this one here as first option, and then the second, it doesn't I mean, it doesn't matter actually, it will just the display, and I select next. So then what I get is a comparison of both assessments. We have the chart with the different categories as the previous result page, okay? And we have also the result. So you can see here which one and has each level. Again, as you can see here, there's no change on or it's not safe the changes that I perform. This is because it is thought as considerations when finishing an assessment, but not this does not change the complete assessment, because as you see, you are providing a consideration over the whole category, but the whole category has several questions. So if you want, after assessing everything, and you see that you could, let's say, do it differently because those resources that on the same administration are available and so on, and could help to avoid those incompatibility aspects, you could do the assessment again, but this consideration here doesn't change the scope. Okay. One interesting thing as well is that matrix that we have here that helps to visually identify, let's say, the results. I mean, we have assessed in this case semantic aspects, technical from the infrastructure view aspects, and also on the application. And we have that one specification has get the not incompatible on the maximum, and then we have the other one that is incompatible because at some points it has demonstrated incompatibility issues with some of the aspects. So here clearly we can identify those aspects. As last points in here is that we can download the JSONs, okay, which is the files that the platform manages. So this could allow us to charge it, to upload them to the platform again and work on them or review the results. As well, it is interesting that for this one and also for the single assessment, we have an automated report that when downloading the PDF, you can check that this is the result. So this is created from the results on the page. It says incompatible and says which is the result per view on the assessment. So if you go down, scroll down, you can see as well this graphic representation of the aspects and in the chart, as you can see in the platform. Okay. Generally, this is the assessment. I suppose that there will be some questions. If not now, you can ask us later on, and I think that I can leave the floor again to Romina to continue with the presentation of the piloting, and I think Raúl has something to say as well. So if you have any question, you can ask through the chat or later on the Q&A. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Hector, for this. I see that Michael, you have your hand raised. I hope you won't mind if we have just one final point before the Q&A. So if you can still wait a few minutes and we cover that point, and then we go and let you share your question. So yes, as Hector was mentioned, we have one final point before the jumping into the Q&As. And just to say on the practice side, we just wanted to share with you this initiative of a CAMSS Incompatibility Assessment pilot. It was also introduced at the beginning by Raúl. The European Commission is promoting this pilot, and we're looking for volunteers to try firsthand this CAMSS Incompatibility Scenario tool that Hector just showed. What we would like to propose with this pilot is a step-by-step guidance through basically all the phases, all the actions that you have seen in the demonstration slide. So concretely, we will help you understand the specification to be integrated in your existing environment, also guide you through the assessment of and understanding of the efforts and the impacts that would come with the integration and the possible incompatibility, and based on that, support you in answering the evaluation question that have been showed a few minutes ago. Ideally, this pilot would be open to EU member states, public administration at any scale, from local to national and broader, and digital service providers that would like to give a boost, integrate their ICT system with new specifications and make them grow incrementally, as we were also explaining before. The tool also showed that there are indeed some fulfillment requirements that would be desired, like the availability of ANESI's environment in the Archmate XML form, as well as a bit of knowledge of CAMSS and EIRA that might be beneficial. But in any case, if you don't have that, we might definitely discuss. And if you're interested in joining this pilot, you can definitely reach out to us. Please don't hesitate and we can talk together and see your needs or like what you really have, and based on that, see how to work together. Raúl, if you wish to say also a few words regarding the pilot, please.
Thank you very much. Before just giving the floor for colleagues for Q&A, just to highlight the words that indeed we are looking for this experience with you, with the real cases. We would like at least to have 2 pilots because we need to do that in a context of the user scenario, no? So we consider, as usual, we do that with all the interoperability architecture solutions, that we go through pilots, and this is a new occasion. So We consider that this is also a good opportunity to be in a win-to-win situation. And also, just in case, I want to make a disclaimer, is we want to basically use that just in case there is someone that is not in the context of a public administration. This should be done in the context of a public administration, okay? Not in the context of a private sector. And then we will go, as we usually do, with you hand to hand with my team, and we will be flexible to adapt that. And also, just in case there is an avalanche, which I don't think so, please be aware that we have limited resources for doing that. And so I consider with with a handful of experiences between 2 and 5, any number would be good for us. So just to say that, and we will be very receptive. The contact people will be my team. So I think that at the end of the presentation there is, as you can see here, an email address, and that's it. We will check regularly, but you could also express your initial interest in this webinar. If there is someone, welcome. We welcome already your manifestations of initial interest to participate. So with that, thank you very much for your attendance, and I guess, Romina, that you can give the floor to the colleagues for Q&A.
Thank you very much for these remarks, Raúl. And indeed, yes, with this we complete and we can move to the Q&A session. I saw some questions in the chat as well, but Michał, please go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michał Bukowski. I'm from the Polish Ministry of Digital Affairs, and I'd like the following questions related to CAMSS scenario. The scenario wants to, the value proposition of this solution is to assess the incompatibility of a new standard, proposed potential standard against the already approved and used standards for the digital service. So my first question is, well, in Poland, we've got many regulations which impose standards on the digital public services. So if I want to think about new standard which would be required for the new digital service, first I would need to map all the existing standards in the Archimate language assigned to the solution building blocks and map it as is, and then make a new model for the 2B with the additional standards, and then start comparing it. So is it correct? And the other thing is, I saw in the demo that there is an self-assessment of the incompatibility. So does the solution provides an automatic comparison between different comparison of compatibility between different standards?
Michał, thank you for your very two good questions. Let me take the first one and leave the second one to my team, okay? Because the question that Michał is putting is extremely interesting, because it opens the window to a variation of the two use cases of this scenario that have been presented in the slides. And is a variation on what you said, Michał. Let's assume that you are a policy officer. You have said, we have in Poland, for example, a regulation, and in the content, in the text of the legal text, there is a set of specifications that they need. Well, those specifications should be compatible between themselves, right? Can you imagine the situation that there is a legal test that is saying a set of competition that there is a problem between them? We have a problem, Houston. so the point is that to reach this point in producing this legal test, and when we are talking about the specifications, and let's not confuse requirements. We are not talking here about binding requirements. We are talking about binding a specification, which is different, okay? So let's not confuse, for example, and I want to use this as a disclaimer for potential confusion with Interoperable European Act, where Article 3 is talking about requirements, okay? We are not talking here about requirements. We are talking about the specification. So specific statements about the technical way of implementing that. So we should differentiate. So by no way let's not mix things. We are talking here about the Interoperable European Article 3. So in this context, Michael, your first question, the incompatibility scenario should be our recommendation used before putting together this reference of integration environment, which is configured by this set of specifications, and it should be done. Our approach, our intervention logic, let me use this terminology, is incremental. So you do one per one. So you start from 0, so you have nothing, you add 1, of course, we cannot detect incompatibility because there is no one, but then you add another one and another one and another one and another one and another one. And then you are incrementally growing the design with your specifications, and this is the application. So the answer, yes, this is the intervention logic for the incompatibility scenario. Now, I will leave the floor, I guess, Hector, for the second question of our colleague.
Yeah, I can take the second one. Yes, you actually defined very well the let's say the approach. I mean, there's like the questionnaire, the form to assess the incompatibility of the different specifications, which is a self assessment tool in this case. And then once you have, for example, 2 specifications or candidate specifications for one specific purpose, let's say, you can go to the compare of assessments, which provides you, let's say, this grid of and comparison between what is achieving one specification on semantic view, for example, and the other. So you can check which one is better considering your specific use case. Okay, this is something that actually this now is foreseen as self-assessment, but could be, let's say, as Raul said, on the support or implementation logic, we could at some point support that. I mean, this is not foreseen now, but yeah, this is the logic.
Let me complement, Hector, something that, because I really love it, the term that Michael has included in these 2 questions about the value proposition. I mean, just to manage the expectations, I hope that is clear. This is not a bot. No, this is not a bot that you press the button and then it tells you, providing the link to the specification at the rear made with Archimate and says incompatible. No, it's based on expert input, but we make a point that for first ever time, and we have reviewed all the literature, my team and myself, all the literature, we couldn't find that. We couldn't find in the literature, so this is progress. I claim we didn't find in the literature a so clear framework to assess incompatibility. We understand that this is not an automatic process that is based on expert opinion, but it is a very good, in our opinion, a step ahead in guiding and assessing, and is modest, incompatibility. We are not assessing compatibility. We are assessing incompatibility, but the expectation is saving a lot of time. And what is the robust, I would say, so I hope that we have credit in saying that the robustness of this assessment is that it's based in EIRA. And it's based on the key interoperability enablers. So there is a very robust and strong basis for making the assessment. And yes, we consider that it's a work through. Now, there is also to manage the expectation, this incremental approach tells you that this is something that if you have, the more specifications that you have is linear, so you need to make the assessment per each one. Now, the problem that I would say that once you have performed assessments already, you can save them. So you will have modules that there is a set of specifications and you have already assessed the incompatibility, so you can reuse them. And that's the reason for basically this second part, okay? So as everything else, as soon as you are creating your repository of incompatibility assessments, you can reuse them, basically, okay? So we are really excited about this thing because there is no input in the literature assessing this complex aspect. And again, as I mentioned in the introduction, incompatibility is one criteria to start assessing interoperability. Okay, so this is an important element. Romina?
Thank you very much. I hope, Michal, that this is shedding some light to your questions.
Yes, thank you very much for the responses.
Oh, amazing. And yes, the rest of the audience, please feel free to raise your hand virtually, or also unmute yourself and share your questions, also comments you may have on the solution or the pilot as well.
Yeah, we are looking for pilots.
Yes. Yeah, but it's also good. That can be also a chance to have some feedback on on this initiative and see gather some first impressions from the audience. So please, feel free. This is a good chance also for us to help improve. This is the purpose of a pilot, trying out and improve on both ways, yours but also ours.
Okay, we will follow up this thing if you are okay. So I suggest that we conclude the webinar if you agree with my deep thank you to all of you for investing your time. Let me use this term. I think that you are investing your time being with us and with your questions. So thank you very much. So I would suggest that you stop the recording and we consider the webinar over.